The Second Amendment is the only amendment in the Constitution that clearly says shall not be infringed. And there's quite a few reasons why it says that, but just hang on. And every day, the Second Amendment is under attack. The powers that be are going after the law-abiding citizens instead of attacking mental health and the bad guys. But check out this statistic. There's over 433 million registered legal firearms in the United States. Let that number sink in. 433 million. As of 2020, that number has increased over the last 4 years. Now, there's a lot of misinformation about gun crimes, gun deaths, and how many people are actually killed at the helm of a firearm, when in reality, most firearm deaths are actually by suicide, not by murder or mass shooting. So as you could see, suicide is 54% of firearm deaths, 43% are murder, and 3 would be classified as other or a mass shooting. Now, this next statistic I find quite interesting, and I feel that there's a direct correlation between a state or a city's gun laws and the amount of violent crimes that are correlated with that. So let's look at California. California has the highest rate of mass shootings in the country. Now, this one I can't quite figure out because Texas does have pretty lenient firearm laws, but Texas is number 2 with 222, and then Florida, which is kind of hard to figure out too because Florida has decent firearm laws. Now, Illinois makes sense, some of the toughest gun control in the country. New York, some of the toughest gun control in the country. Again, gun control means that the bad guys can run rampant while the good guys get punished. Now, here we have the lowest amount of mass shootings or school shootings in the country, which makes total sense. Arizona has the most lenient firearm laws in the country. Oklahoma, top 5 most lenient firearm laws in the country. Then we go down. We got Utah. Utah's got amazing firearm laws. Wyoming has amazing firearm laws, and they don't have any mass or school shootings. Direct correlation, because the bad guys know that most people are armed and they're not going to go after places where they know they could potentially get shot themselves or killed. Now, this leads me into people in the government wanting to ban AR-15s and AK-47s and what they call assault rifles. But here's an interesting statistic. Did you know that the majority of homicides and shootings and school shootings were done by a handgun, not a rifle or an AR-15 or an AK-47? So here the statistics clearly show handgun was used in 166, a handgun type, any kind of handgun type. Rifles were less than half of what is going on here. And then shotguns were on the lower end of the spectrum. And these were mass shootings between 1982 and 2023. But wait. Here's another interesting statistics that home invasions are up 10% as of June of 2023. And home invasions are not done by one person anymore, 2 people. We're talking 5 to 7 people. So if you're trying to defend your home with a simple handgun, you're already overpowered, and the odds of that home invasion being successful for the bad guys is much higher because you're already overpowered with a handgun. So this is where a shotgun or a semi-automatic rifle is better to defend your home in a home invasion. Now, Texas apparently has skyrocketed for home invasions, but some of the cities and states that are getting higher and higher with home invasion rates, New Mexico, Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, have the highest burglary rates. And in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Austin are some of the hot spots for these burglary offenses. Now, out of all of them, this statistic is my favorite one because this is where CNN and some of the other mainstream media tries to tell you how bad AR-15s and AK-47s are. But did you know during the 1992 Rodney King riots that the Korean community and the black community were shattered and tattered for their businesses? And the only things that protected the Korean and the black communities was AR-15s and AK-47s. They were standing on rooftops, they were standing in their shops with their semi-automatic rifles to defend not only them, their family, but their property. In that same time frame, an article written in CNN was explaining that the LAPD had pretty much abandoned everyone, and especially the ones that were hit the hardest was the Korean community and the black community. They had no way to defend themselves other than a semi-automatic rifle. Now, why all of this is important? Because if the powers that be truly cared about you and me and everyone else and our children in these schools, they would be going after mental health and stop trying to attack inanimate objects and law-abiding citizens that want nothing more than to love, protect their family, their property, and their rights that they have per the Constitution shall not be infringed. Going back to another interesting statistic that I want to touch on is 433 million legal registered firearms in this country. They've been here before, they're not going anywhere. So the more gun control you have, the more that number is going to go up. They are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. You're probably asking yourself, well, then what's the solution to the problem? How do we fix this? The problem is the background check system and HIPAA laws. Because the background check system doesn't cross-check for mental defunct and mental illness. So when we can bridge the gap and allow the background check to check medical records and to come together to know if that person is mentally defective or not, we're going to continue to have this problem. It's not attacking law-abiding citizens.